Hello everyone, Coach Carol here with another short video tutorial on how you can turn your timeline for an ancestor into a biography, some narrative, with the magic of AI. I'm currently in my page for a great uncle called Edward St. Swithin Allery, and I'm actually on his timeline, and I can now highlight and scroll through the information that is showing for him from his birth right through to his death. It'll pick up these little bits of text here, but it won't matter for the time being. So Control C to put that in my clipboard, and then head on over to Chat GPT. And here I've put in a prompt. Please convert this timeline into narrative to form the basis of ancestral biography for Edward St. Swithin Allery. And I've simply pasted all of the information from the timeline in place. Let's see what it can do with this information. I'm using my own GPT, which is called the Family Historian AI Writing Guide. It begins a story for this ancestor, weaving in the facts that it's found in the timeline. It uses some colourful language, some of which I might change, but it's given me a great start to how I can transform boring facts and figures into narrative. Still going, still looking at his information and transforming that into a bit of a story. Yes, now that I look at that piece of information, I realise that he did marry late. He was 69 when he married Lillian. And there's the story. And over here on my information list is the title that it's given it, which I now can go back to at any time because it's clearly pointed out who it's for. So it's always a good idea to put that into the prompt so that it forms part of the name for this conversation. The next thing to do, of course, is to copy all of that information. And you could highlight all of it, but you can also just go down here to the copy tool and it will copy the text that it sees above. And then I can place it into a story for my ancestor. I'll pause here and get that ready. I'm over here in my weare.xyz program and currently on the page for Edward St. Swithin Allery. And I now want to add a profile article using the narrative that Chat came up with. I have two options here, create a profile article or pin an existing one. I'll create one from scratch. Gives you two options here. This one is a super simple editor, but this one is actually a good one to use because it gives you a suggested layout for your facts, recollections, and images. Let's choose that one. And it loads it into place. And the template, I've shown you this before in other tutorials, includes ideas for you to work on, what images you could put in place, what text you might put in place. So in this case, I'm going to put the profile in here. So just clicking into that, all of that text goes away, and I use Control V to paste the text in place. It sometimes puts in an extra line space between paragraphs, but that's easily edited out. And I can put a heading at the top. and give it a style such as heading 1. So in the matter of minutes, I've got a little bit of a narrative happening for Edward, and I can put in place a portrait of him, if I have one, that relates to the text. Some of the text can be broken up and put into other places. For example, that first section was about his early years. I could take this piece of text, delete it from there, and put it into the next piece down here. Take that last piece and put it in down here. So you can see how very quickly you can start to sketch out the story for an ancestor. This piece here needs to go into the marriage section. And I can put headings in and images and so on. So we've got quite a good start to this profile for Edward. So right up the very top, this is just the name of the person, and it becomes the name of the profile, and then we publish it. You could then share that with someone else in your family, and they could help contribute to it or give you some feedback. And what it's done is popped in place the image that was in the template. I hadn't realized that that would happen here today, but for the moment, I'll leave that in place because it fills it out nicely. See what it's done down here. And the school, the marriage, and the end of his journey. An interesting way to begin, but of course, any of that can be changed. Plus, I can share that with someone else. This is the magic of We Are. You can share that by just copying the link or creating a little Facebook post or an email to send to someone who might help you with it. To finish off, you can then add an image for that person. I think I just have the one little thumbnail for him. So I will grab that from his records, and you won't see what I'm putting in place here because it's behind the scenes, but I'm going into his record and picking up the photo for him. I have a nice one of him in his uniform, and pop that in place and upload and select it. It will ask me to crop it, so I'll just get as much of him as I possibly can, crop the image, and it's now put that in place. I could use that same picture down here when talking about his life in the army. I'm not sure that I've got that in place at the moment, but let's say it was this one. I could pop that in place down there. And that is my process. So I've gone from a simple timeline to filling it out as a narrative in Chat GPT. And I haven't done any changes to that text yet, so that's yet to come. And then gone straight over to my UER program and created a profile for my ancestor. I hope that you can do the same. If you need any help, you'll know where to look. I'll put the link to this particular article below the video.